What's going on, everybody? This is Toy Addict 26 here, back again with another meeting of Toy Addicts Anonymous. And today I'm super excited for my guest. It's somebody that's in the industry. You probably own many products that his hands have touched or crafted. And let's go ahead and introduce our guest today.
Am I here?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just making sure. Yeah, my name is Hector Arce, and I'm 36, man. And yeah, I'm a toy addict.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Wow. You make me feel old, man. You don't look 36, dude.
Oh, good. That's yeah. Some people tell me that. I'm like, I'm pretty sure. I feel 36. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, the gray's on me, they give away my age, but I tend to get carded everywhere and stuff. Got a baby face.
You do have a baby face. Yeah, you're good. I
Yeah, man.
wouldn't. I don't. I don't even want to try to guess what age you are. So you're
I'm
good, man.
45, man. If I
Really? No
shave
way.
my beard, like forget it.
Yeah,
I can pass for 20 something.
easily, easily.
Yeah.
I got all the grays in my hair up here, so.
Well, you see, none of that over here. So, man, it's really cool to talk to you today. You know, as you can see, the Toy Addicts Anonymous is something. It's new. It's different.
Mhm.
I came up with it just to approach collecting as a hobby. Kind of address the pros and cons of it. Some people get really carried away. They don't know their limits, and they buy way too much crap. So pretty much kind of tell me a little bit about you and your background. Obviously, you're a professional artist by trade, but what got you into toys? Is this something that you carried on from childhood? Was there a gap somewhere in your life? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, no problem. I think for me, uh, ever since I was a little kid, since I can remember, I was always collecting toys. Right, started with all the standards. You know, uh, Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, stuff like that. GI Joe, Transformers, you name it. I had all of that, and then it was like one wasn't enough. Right, it was always like, well, if I have Snake Eyes, I kind of need Storm Shadow, Dad, and I kind of need Scarlet, and I kind of need Destro, or and so on and so on. So um I ever since I was a little kid, I've been a collector of toys and stuff, and I never really thought I would do this as a living. I always liked to draw and stuff like that as a kid, and then I went to college for art, studio art, really broad term. um, and from there I just kind of stumbled upon sculpting, and that became a lot of fun. And from there I just started doing sculpts for fun, and with my school and stuff like that. And it led to job opportunities, which now, yeah, this is what I do.
That's awesome, man. And you work with Mondo, which
Mhm.
uh, they've got one of the awesomest properties out there, which is Motu.
Mhm.
I'm a huge Master of the Universe fan, and I own a lot of the Mondo 1/6 scale figures.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Also, you do collaborations with my buddy Peter Santa Maria. He's
Oh
actually
yeah.
local.
Oh
We're
my.
in Miami. I'm in Homestead, which is a little bit south of him, but
Oh, right on.
we've known each other for a long time, and he's a really talented cat. He's got some really cool different perspectives on things and really cool designs. You guys recently did that Godzilla that sold
Hmm.
out like immediately. um but yeah, it's awesome to be in the industry. For me as a collector, I've always bought too much. That's why I call myself toy addict. It's just I don't know my limits, man. I just buy so much stuff. Like right now, I'm looking at my closet, and it's just I'm looking at Iron Studios, Lionel and Snarf statues, Marvel Legends,
Oh,
icons,
yep.
Hasbro, Ecto One. It's like it's hard, but the thing with me and the struggle that I find, I don't know if it happens with you, is um, I have that nostalgic value as a justification for my purchases. So it's
Hmm.
like if something had some sort of contact with my childhood, like I need to have something like that. So Ghostbusters, anything from the 80s,
Yeah. No,
uh,
I hear you. Yeah.
Thundercats goes after my heart, and I
Uh-huh.
hope that someday you guys do kind of like the collaboration that Motu is doing with Mattel. I would
Mm.
love to see Thundercats done
Fingers
in this
crossed, man.
scale, man. Because dude,
Hmm.
Super Seven's doing awesome work, but
Yeah. Yeah.
have those characters represented in 1/6 scale. It's
Hmm.
just a whole other craft. It's more of a higher end type
Hmm.
of thing, and more like a trophy piece that you can display in the curios, and it's more about singular pieces versus volume. So
Right, right. Yeah, it's really about, spending a lot of time with the particular character that we choose, and just kind of giving it our all, and then um you can't also, like, the amount of, because of the size, you can't, unless you were, I don't even know, even big companies, you can't just pump out, a whole line in one go, right? You have to kind of steadily build it and build it. And that's what's been really cool about, Motu in particular. I mean, I became the creative director for toys and collectibles here at Mondo almost 2 years ago, along with my co-creative director Mike Bonanno, who you may have met at PowerCon.
yeah,
Um, so it's just us two running the entire department. So there, yeah, we have help from our project manager, and then we have our sales guy, Bob, who was also at PowerCon. But other than that, it's just two guys making toys, which is pretty insane considering we release quite a bit. But with Motu, it's been many years worth of building this line, and I feel like it really picked up steam over the last couple of years.
yeah, and one thing that we're seeing nowadays is something that we weren't privy to in previous years, where big, toy industry companies like Hasbro and Mattel are licensing out their own properties. Uh,
Hmm.
Before, it used to be like, nobody touches this. I'm doing this stuff myself. And now we're seeing, Mattel stretching their arms and legs and letting you guys do your thing in 1/6 scale.
Hmm.
They also have Mega Blocks doing their thing, and it's awesome, but it's also a slippery slope for collectors, because you're like, okay, the 6-inch scale figures are amazing. You've got
Right.
Origins, you got Masterverse, but then you got Mondo. These are like 200 a pop, 300 sometimes. So it's like it gets to a point where it's like, so you got to kind of spread it out, and you guys do a pretty good job with that. I think
Hmm. Hmm.
you guys do like what, like 3 or 4 drops a year on one.
Yeah, we try to we we're pretty we don't like to, gouge people or anything like that, due to the nature of the costs that go into making a 1/6 scale. Unfortunately, just like you see with Hot Toys or something that Sideshow releases, it's going to be, you know, 200 and above, right? And especially now with the way the world is and material costs and everything has gone up, right? So um it's forced us to change our prices. But yeah, so we try to keep it pretty limited to, like, three main figures will come out, and then we'll do a couple chase. Like we just released Scareglow today,
Yeah,
which was the classic iteration of, like, our version that we released a few years ago, and that's kind of like our chase figure this year, because our main one was Hordak and Keldor. So next year we have some heavy hitters. We have He-Man, the He-Man Deluxe figure that comes with, like, a ton of switch out parts, like battle armor, Thunder Punch armor, all that stuff, right? So that'll be a big heavy hitter. And then we have She-Ra, and then hopefully Trapjaw. So in between there, we'll have a couple chase figures, right? And then obviously, I don't if, as you saw, there's also Battle Cat.
oh my god. Yes, I saw that, and I'm like, oh no, they did it. That's amazing.
Go
That
big or go home, right? Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
no,
We were like, let's go for it.
and I love the unique um like face plates that you did. Like you did not only are you giving us the Crenger heads, but you're also
Hmm.
giving us that kind of like skull mask
Hmm. Oh yeah,
back.
for Panther, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's awesome, dude, and I just can't wait to actually have that on display with my He-Man. I, for one, I'm a little bit of a stickler when it comes to buying stuff. Like, as an artist myself, I dabble, I do some illustrations here and there, and
Hmm.
I tend to be picky with things, and for some reason, the He-Man, the head sculpt, I just I didn't like it, so
You're not alone. You're not alone.
I never
That's
bought the
the
He-Man.
number one complaint.
So I'm so happy to see that you're revisiting him in a deluxe format, but I can only imagine what's that going to be like 350 plus because
No,
so
no,
many
no.
parts, no?
No, no, no. It'll be. I think it'll be around that same price range that Hordak was, which was around like 240 to 250. I
Oh,
mean, don't quote me on that because obviously the world is changing like crazy in terms of the supply chain and how hard, as you've seen, how hard it is to get toys, anything across the water right now, right? So, but our goal is to keep it in that 250 range,
oh wow,
even with it being such a deluxe kind of set.
that's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah, and then what's cool about Motu is, and it's kind of like following the old way that it was done. It's like they reuse a lot of the same tooling, a lot of the same body. So with Motu, we can get away with adjusting our prices a little bit based on like how much we use from an existing figure, right? So,
Right.
but with this one, we as you saw, we redid the chest, brand new head sculpt because as you mentioned, a lot of people didn't like that one, and from what I heard, everyone loves the new head sculpt, and the hair is really good. I think it's definitely a step up and a cool way to reintroduce people who didn't get a chance to get the He-Man like 5 years ago, whenever that came out, and to kind of get a brand new He-Man for the line.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I know that probably Battle Cat will be a step up, obviously, because it's a
Yeah.
scale piece. I'm
Hmm.
thinking that thing's gonna be like 300 plus for sure.
Yeah, it'll be up there, but it won't. I don't think it'll be like insane in terms of pricing, but I think it'll be reasonable for what you're getting. You're getting he's like what, like almost 20 inches long, right? So it's a big toy. So
Yeah, the alternate heads. Plus, I noticed that when you guys do your previews during Comic Con and stuff, and you show your panels,
mhm,
sometimes you tend to show some accessories that don't make it to the final cut.
mhm,
Um, an example was with Hordak. I believe there was a couple of parts.
yeah,
I think there was an alternate face that was planned
mhm,
in the original Hordak that never came out with them. So I guess you gave that face to the Filmation version.
yeah,
But things like that, I get it with budgeting and stuff. Unfortunately, things slip through the cracks. But I did see, I want to say 2018, no, 2019, I believe you guys did a Comic Con panel as well, and you showed just like little glimpses of control art, and you showed the chess piece for Beastman.
mhm,
I
mhm.
was like, oh my god, Beastman stuff, but haven't heard anything about that. Is that something that still is in the works?
Well, yeah. So as we all know, COVID messed up a lot, right? It put a big like slowdown on our production chain, and we had to reevaluate all our product and what was coming out and so forth. With that said, yeah, so that was teased back then, and I'm sure the plan was at the time for it to come out sooner, but there were other ones that we had to prioritize since we were so far along. Like Hordak was almost done, Keldor, stuff like that, and then we started, doing the chase figures, and now that we kind of have a better idea of what everything's going to be. So we have Shira, which we teased a while back. Beastman for sure is in development. It is going to happen. Unless something horrible happens or something like that. But yeah, Beastman is definitely in our plans for, I want to say, tentatively for 2023.
Right. Awesome, man. Yeah, because that 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 trap jaw looks amazing. I mean, Florian
Yeah,
did the designs on that.
yeah, and he's actually updating it as we speak.
Oh
He's
yeah.
he's he's adding it. He's adding a bit more flair and because he did that back in like maybe 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
So now that we're like, yeah, let's do more of this line, let's go all in kind of thing. He decided that he wanted to update it, and it's looking way cooler than that even concept art. So it's going to be an awesome piece. And like you said, we try to space things out. I would love to be able to release like Beastman and Stinkor and all that stuff next year too. But at the same time, we don't want you know we can't we don't want people to feel like, oh man, you're dishing out $200 to $300 every month kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we keep it spaced out. And so next year we have like the main four planned, which is like Trapjaw, Battle Cat, She-Ra, and He-Man, and then there will be one or two chase figures in
Is
there
there
then.
any kind of in terms of the agreement that you have with Mattel, is there like any end in sight in terms of that, or is this something that's just ongoing? Oh, I just lost my green screen.
I was like, what is happening?
But
that,
there's an earthquake.
that was funny. Um, you're good. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have your little. There you go. Um, the no, Mattel is an excellent partner. They thankfully let us, do our thing, and they're great. And no, I mean um, we have plans to continue with them for as long as it takes. So um, you know, and in the near future, we definitely have a lot planned.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So, just how you mentioned the whole spacing out of product and stuff like that, is there, because you have to space out that stuff, is there a possibility of having another license? I know you guys have done like one-offs, like the Kratos from the new God of War game, which was
Mhm.
amazing. I own that piece myself, the exclusive. Um, and for some reason it doesn't get a lot of love, like in terms of toy photography and stuff, but I think it's an amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? We feel the same way. We're like, man, like this is a pretty good 1/6 scale Kratos.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, we have seen people like yourself, reach out and say like, oh my God, this is like way better than I thought it would be when I got it, when they get it. But yeah, it's just kind of been it's a weird one. I don't know.
I would love to see a God of War 3 or original God of War, when he was younger, maybe
Yeah.
have the Medusa head and stuff like that. That would be awesome. But going back to my original question, is just, would it be a possibility of pursuing another license, or is that kind of overkill in the in sense of like with Warner Brothers, like going after Thundercats, or going after another property? I know you guys have done one-offs with Batman also, so you already have that kind of relationship with
Mhm.
WB. So is that something that would be a possibility, or would you have to wait until like the Motu Roadshow is kind of said and done?
No, I mean we have ongoing we have many licenses at the moment and that we're actively pursuing and creating product for. For Batman that you mentioned, we released Batman, Catwoman, and Mr. Freeze, and we're releasing Joker hopefully later this year. So we do have plans to continue with that. It's just like I said before, when it came to COVID and that year that it hit, like it forced us to put a lot of things on pause and reevaluate what worked for Mondo toys and collectibles kind of thing. Because as you know, Mondo is more than that, is the posters and the records and all sorts of stuff. So for us, it was reevaluating and trying to figure out, all right, what do we want to stick to? And so yeah, Batman is part of that, and then X-Men animated series.
Right, that
Uh,
Wolverine.
yeah, so we have 100% full plans to support that line. So next year you can expect at the very least three figures that'll come out. So we're spacing things out in a bit where it's like, you have your Motu, and then every other month you have like an X-Men or
Right.
maybe a Batman, and we announced McCready from the Thing 1/6
Oh,
scale
nice.
over, I think it was on during Comic-Con. Yeah, I think that's when we announced it. But
Did you
yeah,
guys
and that
show like a prototype or something, or you just?
we teased out like a couple of the portraits and
Oh,
like the creatures that it comes with, but
okay.
it's gonna be like it comes with a lot of stuff
Oh,
and
wow.
a couple of surprises that no one's ever done before, things like that. So and that's and so we have stuff like that, and then in between there, we have our Godzilla stuff. We have a lot of Godzilla.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a lot of awesome product for me. Primarily the Motu stuff.
Hmm.
The Attack Peter collaboration with
Oh yeah, I love Peter. He's one of the best persons in the world.
he's got some talent, man. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, in terms of collecting, what's on your shelf right now? Like, what kind of stuff do you collect aside from
Man,
Mondo?
right now, since we do so much, my shelf in front of me is covered with our Godzilla soft vinyls that we released all throughout the year, like like these dudes here,
Oh yeah.
and then we have so this is like my whole shelf right now is all this, because partly because I tend to be a little, it's probably my ego or something like that. But
You like have your own
if
work.
yeah, so since I sculpted these and designed them and painted them and stuff like that, like I have them on display. But yeah, right now my shelf is primarily like Mondo stuff at the moment, except for Baby Yoda, which is the sideshow, the big Baby Yoda
Yeah,
sideshow piece. Yeah, which is on my shelf too. And yeah, right now it's just a lot of Mondo stuff. Here and there, I just got the Power Rangers 1/6 scale
cool.
figures, which I wanted to do really bad, but we didn't get the opportunity to get that license. So, me being a huge Mighty Morphin nerd from back in the day, so I had to buy a handful of those that came out a while back. So, yeah, that's kind of what's on my shelf right now.
So you'd say that you're probably more niche when it comes to collecting. You're more like your own personal stuff and some 1/6 scale. You don't dabble in like 6 inch and stuff like that, like legends or
I recently started collecting the new Marvel Retro line, the little
oh
3.75
okay.
inch ones. I love those. Since I don't have a big place and my garage is already packed with Mondo stuff because we work remotely, so we don't have an office or anything like that. So all the samples and stuff that we get, like either come to my place or my the other creative director's place or a storage unit. So I do yeah. I collect Godzilla stuff too. Like the SH Monster Arts, um, stuff like that. I collect some soft vinyl here and there, designer stuff. And back in the day, I used to collect statues because I worked at Pop Culture Shock Collectibles
Oh,
for a
cool.
while, and I did a lot of the Mortal Kombat stuff there. So, um,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, Pop Culture Shock is doing a lot of crazy stuff. And I remember like a couple of years back, I reached out um, to the original owner, and
Mm,
I was like, "Dude, I haven't seen you. I haven't seen any of your work." And he's like, "Oh, I sold that company. I didn't know he wasn't involved anymore." Uh,
yeah. He sold it, and then shortly after he sold it, I left. So and went to Gentle Giant for a little while.
Tell
Um,
me a little bit about sculpting, because I just recently acquired ZBrush.
oh, awesome.
Kind of like dabbling with it.
Yeah.
My buddy Eric Sosa, he um, he sent me some information on it and some videos and tutorials and stuff, and I'm just kind of like dabbling in it. I'm
Mhm.
just curious, do you prefer traditional sculpting or ZBrush?
I mean, I started off traditionally, and it kind of is what threw me into this whole world, right? I mean, for me, it was sculpting Godzilla back when I was in school, and that led me to work with the folks at Legendary to help them kind of like come up with designs for the 2014 film back in the day.
Oh, wow.
So, and that then snowballed into me getting a bunch of other work. So, for traditional sculpting, it's a lot of fun, man. I love it. It's great, but at the end of the day, if I had to pick, I would pick digital sculpting over traditional. There's something awesome about having the clay in your hand and the freedom of moving it whenever you want, and you don't have to be, under the confines of like the digital program and how it's like I can't just pick something up and be like, I want to twist it this way. I have
Yeah,
to follow the rules that are set in ZBrush to twist it.
right.
And you have to rethink and remap your brain in that way where it's like, I just want to grab it and turn it, but I can't. But at the same time, in terms of how fast things are turned around these days and how quickly this industry moves and how kind of like, just you need to just stay with the times, especially if you're releasing things that are based off of movies that are coming out or shows. Like you need to time it correctly and all that. ZBrush is the fastest way to sculpt, and you can. For me personally, something I couldn't do with clay is in ZBrush I can sketch my ideas out in a way where I'll map out my sculpture, and then instead of drawing it on paper, it's more like, okay, cool, I have like an idea, and then I just build and build and build and build and build and tweak and tweak until it gets to something that I'm happy with.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of noticed, I just felt like there's more. technical aspect of it than the craftiness. So it's like
Mhm.
you got to kind of reinvent the wheel in your head.
You
Uh,
do, you do. It's crazy because with when I was sculpting the Mortal Kombat the at PCS, where they did the life size busts of Scorpion and Sub Zero. So I did those and the from Mortal Kombat X, and sculpting a life size bust that it took a long time. It took a long time to do it, to get it right, get all the and then man, like all I think the next project we got, the Mortal Kombat just sent us the files, and it was just like, oh, well, we have it here, and all we need to do is print it at whatever size we want, and adjust it, and there you go, you're done. So then the next line of statues that started coming out, the smaller ones, they're all just based off the digital files. Just, oh well, it's exactly what it is in the game. Just tweak it, put it out. And it sucked at the time because I was like, man, there's my job. Like I can't, I'm not gonna, I can't sculpt that fast. It's impossible. So
yeah,
you either decide, it was like a make or break moment for me. It was just like, well, I have to jump and dabble into it. And by no means am I an expert, or even I don't even consider myself very good at ZBrush. I just, but it is something that I can play around with, and it's cool. And I've done a handful of stuff for Mondo with it, so it's cool.
yeah, yeah. No, I was messing with it and learning about Dynamesh and all this stuff. And it's just
Yeah.
the thing with me is I have a MacBook Pro, but
Mhm.
a I don't have an actual tablet that I can work with a MacBook Pro. What I have is an iPad Pro. So I
Mhm.
was thinking, is there a way to like maybe sidecar it where I can draw on my iPad running ZBrush off my Mac? So I've been looking into that to see if it's a possibility because, just working on a mouse with a mouse pad is
Yeah,
not
no,
the
you
end
got
of it.
at the very least get yourself like a Wacom tablet.
That's what I was
And
thinking. Now.
at the very least, it'll take you a little while to like map your brain out because you're not looking where what your screen is doing. Your hand is over here, you
Yeah.
know. But it's infinitely better than trying to do it with a mouse. You'll never get anywhere with that. And if eventually if you start to love it and it's something you want to take seriously, I would recommend getting a Cintiq or one of the bigger Wacom tablets with a screen, and that way you're drawing on the actual screen, and it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, I bet that's like a lot more. Like you said, that's once it's more professional. I'm going to be
Mhm.
more involved. Right now, I'm just kind of dabbling. I do illustrations uh,
Yeah,
on
just
my.
have fun with it, man. The cool thing about ZBrush, once you get to know, like for me, it was like when I first got it, it was like I got to know like the five main brushes, like Move Tool, Damn Standard, standard brush, Clay Build, stuff like that, and then just started messing around. And you slowly watch tutorials and all that stuff, and you'll just have fun and make stuff and go from there.
Yeah, and then the next step, I guess, is getting like a 3D printer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, a buddy of mine has one, and he's been making like diorama parts, like walls and desks and stuff for like 112 scale figures,
Mhm.
and it's worked out pretty good for him. But he doesn't have ZBrush. He's been using some kind of application where it's like mathematics and geometry, and it's been really complicated for him.
Wow.
That stuff, yeah. But yeah, man, the Mondo stuff was super impressive. It was so refreshing to get out there. It was my first time going to California, um, and getting to see people again in a group setting. After COVID, things just kind of took a turn for like just being in the house, cooped up and stuff. It just
Yeah.
seems like a lot of product, at least from the big guys, like Hasbro and Mattel is like they're just cranking out product. And I think it's because of like the stimulus money and stuff. Like so people just want to spend money on toys, so they've been making toys, and it just gets a little overwhelming at times.
Hmm.
I know today you guys have the drop for the Scare Glow. That thing sold out like in 60 minutes. I didn't get a chance to go to Mondo shop, but
Yeah.
the wonder was gone.
It sold out really fast. It was faster than we expected it to be, and yeah, I mean, it just, a testament to the line. It's really growing, and people really are starting to love it more so than they did, and there's a lot of new fans, and that are getting into it. So we're not like a huge corporation like like Hasbro and stuff like that. So we're very limited. We can only make a certain amount of stuff. So we can't, unfortunately, not all the we can't all the time have like 3,000 units available, right?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of just the nature of it at the moment for Mondo. It's just we put out what we can, and it does get pretty crazy, and Scareglow, yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts that it sold out so fast.
Yeah, it's awesome though because you guys have that. It sets more of a standard for collectability because you have more of a niche type of product that's limited, and it's
Right.
if you really want it, you got to be on there. You got to time yourself, put an alarm, make sure you're you're there, and you check out immediately. Because if not, you're pretty much done. Secondary market prices are not your friend.
No, no, it's just how it is. If with Mondo, yeah, I mean, if you try to collect posters from Mondo and stuff like that, or the records, it gets pretty crazy. And in terms of, yeah, you kind of have to be on the site when it happens, and if you miss out, you miss out. I mean, we don't like, we try to make it as fair as possible. It's just sometimes we have lower units than demand. So.
Yeah. So tell me something about your collection. Do you have anything right now in your collection that you would coin it as like a shame piece, in the sense of like, is it something that maybe you paid like crazy amount of money for, or you traded tons of stuff for it, like something that you look at it now and you're like, wow, I can't believe I paid X amount for that, or I can't believe how I managed to get that figure or that piece.
No, man, I'm a pretty picky collector. If it doesn't resonate, like it kind of like what you mentioned earlier, like if it resonates with my nostalgia in a way, then I don't even regret it. If for me, it's just like, you know what, I need this. This will make me happy, kind of thing. Luckily, I work in toys, so a lot of the stuff that I've wanted, I've either worked with the company or I've gotten the chance to work on. So it becomes one of those things where it's like, oh, cool, like I can get one. But no, man, because I think for me, it's like if I, you know, if I really want it, I'm just going to get it, and it doesn't really matter, at that point.
That's
And
awesome. So you like, I mean, not so much that you would feel like ashamed that you got it, but I'll give you an example. I had, for example, a Doctor Doom premium format, the original Doctor Doom premium format
oh wow, yeah.
show, right? I would call that my shame piece. Why? Because for some stupid reason, I decided to sell it, and now it's like impossible to attain. And it was such a beautiful piece. I always said to myself, like, this is gonna be that piece that's gonna be in the nerd cave. It's that conversation
Hmm.
piece. But things happen, bills had to get paid, and I sold it. So that's kind of like a shame piece for me. Not necessarily because I bought it, but because I got rid of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been there where I've sold stuff and I regretted it. I had like one of the big, uh, it was like a Gentle Giants Kenner style alien
Oh yeah.
figure. It was like 24 inches tall. It was
Yeah.
huge, and it was the gold edition, which was very hard to get.
Oh
And
wow.
it was one of those things, yeah, where I was like, man, I could use the money, and I sold it. And then now I look back, I'm like, I shouldn't have done it. Like that thing was awesome. Like I loved having that thing. So yeah, it happens, every now and then. But yeah, I try to keep as much as I can, but you never know.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like for me, space is just like I'm taking up right now about, yeah, three closets. I got my stepdaughter's bedroom, half of her closet, a spare room closet, and then our master bedroom has a little bit of stuff. I've tried to get most of my stuff out of our bedroom. My wife doesn't really like the stuff everywhere. I have just one curio, you know. But eventually, the room I'm in right now, we're converting it into a home office. So we're going to I'm going to get a couple more curios and be able to display my stuff. Because at the end of the day, that's what her argument is. It's like, you buy all this crap, but it's just sitting in bins. You don't do anything with it. You don't play with it. You don't display it. And, I try to explain to her that, some of these things, if you don't get them when they come out, then they're like double, triple the price later on down the road. So even though I can't enjoy them right now or open them, like most of my Mondos are in box because I just don't have space to display them. But when I do get that nerd cave set up, you bet I'm gonna be putting up my Kildor and my He-Man and my Battle Cats. It's just a matter of time,
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like right now, I'm in like a, same thing. My wife lets me have like certain areas of the house, and that's or apartment, and that's it. And then I have the garage, which kind of doubles as like my man cave kind of thing,
Yeah.
work studio when it comes to painting or stuff like that. So, but no, I hear you. Most of my stuff's in a box too, or hidden or in storage.
Yeah.
I don't, and what's funny is that, they'll say like, hey, well, you don't even play with it. But I'm like thinking like, I think you would think it's pretty weird if I'm playing with my toys,
I know.
even more so than it just being in a box
I know.
somewhere. If like I'm actually playing with them, like you might be like, So,
It's funny because just the other day, I cracked open the Super 7 Ultimates Jaga figure,
mhm,
and that literally took me back to my childhood in the sense that, Thundercats is a very near and dear property to me. I feel like it's never gotten its due. There was always things like the Cartoon Network series that got canceled early, Bandai Toy Line got canceled really early on. So it's never really had that opportunity to stretch its legs. And now finally with Super 7, they're really building the line. And when I had that Jaga in my hand, I literally felt like I wanted to hum the Thundercats theme and just kind of put them. I just wanted my Groon so I could put them fighting and stuff. And I'm 45 years old, and I'm just like, I really feel like doing this. I feel like
mhm.
just being in a sandbox and playing with my figures. And I think that's something that we have to embrace. With so much crap going on in the world today, things that bring us joy and happiness, we got to embrace that and take those opportunities, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it makes you happy, right? That's all that matters. And I mean, toys, for a lot of people, it's not even about, whether it's gonna, be an investment or any of that stuff, right? It's about like, looking at something on your desk or knowing you have it and you can pull it out whenever you want and kind of be like, oh, this is awesome. Like this is cool. So it's a cool hobby. It's dangerous, but
Yes.
it's fun and there's so many cool companies right now just pumping out a lot of cool stuff. Like Super 7 pumps out some really neat stuff, and Iron Studios, same thing. Where it's just like there's so much to choose from. So if that's right for me, I think I'm overwhelmed and I'm just kind of like very pick and choose. Everything. You
Yeah, yeah.
know.
As a collector, it's like it's a very dangerous territory right now, for real.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons why I came up with this whole show is just because to address it, the pros and cons. Some people are just overwhelmed and they're always trying to find ways to justify purchases, but at the end of the day, mortgages have to be paid, bills have to be paid.
Right. Right.
Kids' schooling has to be planned for their
Mhm.
future and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's tough, but it's a fun hobby. But
Mhm.
man, it's been really fun talking to you. It's really interesting to talk to people like you that are in the industry that actually create the stuff that we love to collect. Mondo, like I said, has some really awesome stuff with the Motu properties. Can't wait to see, like actual prototypes of the Battle Cat painted and the
Mhm.
Panther painted. Is the Panther something that will probably be 2024 because of the size and cost?
No, it'll be within it'll from what I think, it'll probably be like several months apart, but it won't be. They'll be made at the same time.
Awesome. So we'll actually be able to have both.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The plan is with something like Panther is for there to be a Skeletor to accompany it uh,
Yes.
eventually, right? Since we're revisiting He-Man, Skeletor would be the next logical step in terms of like a lot of people missed out on Skeletor, right?
Paraclaws or Dragon Blaster. That's all that comes to mind. Those would be awesome little additional bonus parts, because you got the battle armor, but
Hmm.
terror claws, and I just absolutely love that Dragon Blaster Skeletor with that little dragon imp thing.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Skeletor toys out there with the dragon on
That
there.
would
So
that would be amazing if you guys did that in 1/6.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I will neither confirm or deny that that is actually happening. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's something to look forward to, and I guess you guys will usually showcase your stuff either on social channels, or is there any other event coming up? Are you guys planning to attend Toy Fair in
no,
February? Is there a
uh,
Toy Fair next year?
uh, I would assume there's going to be a toy fair. I think we're probably not going to go in an official capacity. In the past, we've shared a booth with Diamond Select, and they've carved out a little space for us to kind of put some things in there. Not sure about what's going to happen next year. We're actually going to be at Designer Con,
Oh, okay, cool.
and over the in November. So we'll be showcasing whatever we have. Pretty much some new product coming down from the Godzilla lines of things. I think we'll have a painted Shira
Awesome.
to showcase, and a prototype of the He-Man battle armor. We're
Nice.
hoping to have there as well. And yeah, that'll be the next place where we'll be previewing either stuff that is going to come out, or just the stuff kind of like for the rest of the year kind of
Right.
thing. And then after that, it might just be Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Usually for us it's Comic-Con is when we do our big like dump of information of
Yeah.
like, here's what you can expect for like, the end of 2022 and 23 kind of thing.
Really glad you guys went to PowerCon because, one, I attended, and two, there was no Comic Con. I mean, there was a Comic Con, but it was kind of weird. Isn't it like scheduled for Thanksgiving weekend or something like that?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we couldn't go to that, and for us, it was a little more important to go to Designer Con this time, just because we're doing a lot of the soft vinyl figures and stuff like that, and kind of building that awareness that like Mondo is dabbling in soft vinyl designer toy stuff like that as well. Aside from all the other licensed properties that we do. So we're doing Designer Con, but yeah, Mondo. I mean, Comic Con is in like Thanksgiving, and no one wanted to do it.
Really bad timing. I don't know what they were thinking there,
Yeah, it's a little weird.
but awesome, man. It's been great chatting with you. Thanks so much for
Yeah,
taking
thank you for having.
time out of your busy schedule to talk to me, and I look forward to giving you guys my money next year with all
I
these awesome releases. Oh, my wife
appreciate it.
kill me, man.
I appreciate it. No, I know how it is, man. I'm same boat. I'm allowed a certain amount of spending every now and then.
Yeah. All right, man. Take care.
Alrighty,
Have a good one. It was a
bye
good
bye.
chat.
Thank you.
Bye.